Hello, everyone. My name is Michelle, your host of the Industry Edge podcast, where we talk to leaders working in the hardest working industries like manufacturing, distribution, construction, material handling, and more. Today's episode is brought to you by KNC Marketing. KNC is a full service marketing agency that helps B2B industrial companies grow their brand and increase sales. To learn more about KNC's brand development, web design, and marketing services, visit kncmarketingagency.com. Today, we're talking about family business, construction, and the mindset it takes to grow and lead in competitive industries. And joining us is Pete Hayes, co-owner of the Hayes Company, a family business that has built a strong reputation for delivering high-quality insulation and building products across Kansas City, Dallas, and Nashville. With 8 years of experience in construction, and even more if you count the summers working for his father, Pete understands what it takes to succeed in this space. Pete is passionate about small business development, construction, and helping others grow in their careers. And so today we'll dive into his journey, the challenges and opportunities of running a family business, and his insights on leadership and industry trends. So, Pete, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here with you and to talk about my business.
Thank you. So, tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm Pete Hayes. I am an owner with the Hayes Company. It's a family company. I'm one of four brothers that are part of a company of three different branches, basically. Started off in Kansas City. That's the headquarters of the company where my dad has started a company 45 years ago. um, Primarily dealing with insulation services to residential homes and construction. And then it branched off into other products like fireplaces and shower doors and mirrors and closet systems, fireplaces, I think I said. And it's grown from there. And that's what I kind of grew up doing and seeing my dad do as an entrepreneur as I was growing up. And then eventually, which I think I'll get into with you, I joined the company as well.
That's awesome. So, your experience began working for your dad during the summers. I would assume maybe your brothers too. So, what were those early days like?
Yes. So I hated it, and that was part of it, and that's part of the story. He was doing this, and he had us working for him during the summers, doing either insulation, or we would install shower doors, or we would put in shelving for his customers that were normally residential builders. And I sincerely hated it, and I thought it was the worst thing ever, and I wanted to get as far away from construction as I possibly could. And and so that's what eventually would get into me, avoiding it as much as I could after I graduated from college. But for the summers, it was good. And um, I would definitely say that was, I mean, it's always a valuable time to learn new things and to do things you've never done before and to learn the nitty-gritty of things, the nitty-gritty of the job. And I definitely learned so much in those summers of doing that. But I'll tell you, I hated it.
So, then your first steps out of college were not joining the business. What did you do to start your career?
Yeah, so we initially we not to avoid the company, but we moved away from Kansas City. And so my wife and I, we got married, and then we moved to Nashville, Tennessee. And it was not to just get away from the business. But we had friends that were here, and so we moved to Nashville, Tennessee. And I had a variety of different jobs, definitely took a different career path. The biggest thing was the automobile industry. I worked for Nissan North America. Their headquarters are here in Franklin, Tennessee. And I was taking that trajectory of corporate life, which I feel like I got to see that side of things really, really well. And eventually, like that took a turn into what am I doing? Why am I going a corporate ladder style of things? Like this is not what I thought it was going to be. And as time would go on, and I can definitely expound on that, but as time would go on, I just realized what I'm missing and what I'm turning away by avoiding a family company that has so much value in it. And I was slowly seeing that more and more, especially as I started having my own kids. and
Hmm.
realizing the limitations I had with being in a corporate company, basically.
Hmm. So what eventually led you to the point where you were like, I'm gonna rejoin, or how was that transition like once you decided that corporate life wasn't for you?
Well, there were some big moments that caused it in the job that I was in, which, you know, there were a few things, but then there was like definitely like a tipping point that happened. The small things that would happen day to day would be I would go to so many meetings, and the meetings were about meetings, and it felt like they had no significance to them whatsoever. And just a lot of meetings that were really, really hard to constantly go to and feel like I was making a difference and a company or in other people's lives. That was really, really hard to be a part of. And then the other funny thing, and there's nothing, not knocking corporate lifestyle whatsoever, but when I would go to every month, we'd have a big departmental meeting together where we'd celebrate birthdays and anniversaries. And I felt something every time that they would celebrate somebody's 40th anniversary of working for the company, or 30th or 40th or 45 or whatever it was. Every time I heard that, my heart just sank. I just felt something so strong that hurt because I was getting to almost 10 years, and I think that I just didn't ever want to hear congratulations, you've been here for, 40 years. And I say that with so much validity for the value in a corporate job and the consistency of it, and obviously the provision of it as well. But I would hear that, and my heart would just sink because I don't think I was supposed to be there. I felt that too. And then the real tipping moment was I was celebrating my I think my third or fourth child's first birthday, and it was not received well by my immediate manager, and I got reprimanded for that. And so then the next day I put in my resignation because of that. And it was a great moment because I would thank her today, because in that moment I just realized I'm answering to so many people that I'm really good at answering to people. I'm a great employee. I'm great. I can work for so many people, and I'm great at that, almost too good at it. But this is unacceptable to me because I don't want this for my life, basically. And I want to work hard. And I just don't want to not be able to celebrate these moments with my family, basically, is how that happened.
Absolutely. So then were you welcomed back into the family business with open arms, or where did you start back into working in the construction industry?
Yeah, so it's really interesting when I called my father about doing this. Initially, he was not very open to it. Um, but it was not because I was joining the family business. It was because I told him I want to start a company in Nashville. I want to do the same thing in Nashville that you did in Kansas City. And he said, absolutely not. It's too hard, and there's just no way, and it's not a good idea to do that. And you don't want to go through what I had to go through to do that. And that, for some reason, just made me more motivated to do it. You know how when someone tells you you can't, you want to do it even more.
Mhm.
So after he told me that, I still just kind of pressed on it because at that point, I just felt like there was no turning back on my career that I had. And so he um, he was not as he was not as excited to do it or to help me with it, but he was very supportive financially, structurally. That the benefits were there. I just had to really be motivated to start the company and get it going with not as much support as could have been there, other than what you really do need, which is the financial backing and financial support, which was amazing to have. And so when I pressed on it, there was that support. I was able to get the name of the company, kind of like put it together of what it would look like. It was another Hayes company that was under the structure of our Kansas City company. And then I just started selling the main product that we do, which is insulation. And I just started selling it. It was really funny to be starting something that what didn't actually exist. When you're selling something that you don't actually have a product of and you've never made a sale of, and it doesn't even exist, and there's not even an office, there's not even a warehouse, there's not even one employee, it's really funny to be making sales doing that because you feel like a total con artist that you're selling something that doesn't actually exist yet.
Hmm. So fast forward today, you're established in Nashville and you're firing on all cylinders and loving being back in the family-owned business. What are the things that make your business unique today?
Yeah, what makes us unique today? Well, we've been doing this since 2018 in Nashville. So it's been about yeah, it's been about 7 years now. And so there's a lot that I've learned along the way, and there's a lot of things that have changed. And people talk about failure being a great teacher. I would definitely subscribe to that idea that every bit of failure has been a great teacher to where even though I had a business degree coming out of college, maybe so that I wouldn't have to be in the family business, I've definitely put that to use, but I feel like I got the greatest education doing this over the last several years. I think it's changed the way I see business and the way that I see employing people are so integral to what I want to be as a company, which is hiring really, really amazing people to be a great company, um, being employee focused, um, pouring into the people that work for us to really see the most that I can out of what they can do and how we can make great customers because of it, I think is a really, really important thing for me.
Hmm.
And at first, I don't think at first I really understood delegation or hiring people because I really was a one man operation that had installers, had laborers basically, and I would do selling, I would do invoicing, I would do payroll, I would do it all, and then I would have guys doing the work. And I think I was missing on the opportunity of hiring great people that would love the opportunity to work for a company that could do a better job than most companies can do. And so what's changed more than anything is just kind of the mindset of no one would want to work for an installation company to this is a great company to work for. That's a great opportunity that I can make for other people. And the better that it gets, the better that I believe that it can be for someone to work for.
Hmm. How do you identify those people that could provide that level of service when you're interviewing? What are the cues that you get that you're like, I can trust this person, they're going to work hard for me?
That is such a hard question. That is so hard to answer. I'm asking myself that every day as we continue to hire people that hopefully are those right people, those right ones that is really hard to vet out. When I'm hiring and when I'm interviewing before we hire, I'm definitely emphasizing this is a family company. And so there's ups and downs of being a family company. Like sometimes there's not as much structure to it.
Hmm.
But the good thing is that it is more personal. It's a personal thing that you're a part of a small company. But there's not this is not a huge Fortune 500 thing where there's packages and compensation, but you're a part of a company that is a family-owned company with values that go much deeper than what is normally monetary benefits. It's much bigger than that. So I think that initially in the interview process, it's very transparent of who we are, so that if you want to be in a company that value family and us putting I put my family first, so I want you to put your family first too. And I believe that you're going to be a more longstanding employee if you do that. You're going to be here longer. And if I don't try to get everything out of you in your first 2 years just to use you, then you might be likely to be here for 10 years or 20 years, 30 years. And so I think for me, focusing on that family aspect, the values aspect of it, not the monetary aspect of it, that's a part of it and being competitive. But I think it really is just for us trying to focus on here is what you're getting out of our company. There's no pretense about who we are. We're a small company, we're growing. Um, we aren't the big, I have aspirations of how big our company should be, but right now we are not there. Do you want to be a part of this? And basically want to get on the bus more or less to that.
Mhm. That's great. Um, so how does that translate to, you're hiring great people, you're pouring into them and developing them. How does that translate into ensuring you're providing great service to your customers and those people that you're putting so much trust in as a small business and a family business? How does that translate to the great service that you provide customers?
Yeah, yeah, that is that's it. Yeah, so if we for so there's everybody that's customer facing that's typically to be on our installers, our laborers, right? Um, the ones that I've been working with for 5, 6, or 7 years, they're the ones that know I can't do this without you. And you can't do this without these customers. There's so much to this that if you don't give a good presentation, if it doesn't look high quality, if you don't smile when you're interacting with these customers, like you and I aren't going to exist because we're too small of a company that we can't take that for granted for very long. So when I get a text from a customer that says your guys did a great job, they really, really took care of us, they seem like they really care and they were just pleasant to deal with, there's there is feedback that we give to the crews to tell them great job, like they loved you guys. There might be a gift card, there might be something just to say thank you because we just love those interactions so much. And we know that we're not the biggest insulation company. We might not even be the cheapest insulation company, but if they can do that, then we can keep going. We can keep these customers. We might even be able to charge a little bit more to just help us pay for our bills more, just because they're taking care of customers so much. So it goes into the long-standing relationship that I have with them, that I've known them for a long time. I know their families and the trust that I believe they have in us, that they're going to transfer that over to customers and take care of them. And if they see something that is concerning in a house, because we're dealing with houses and we're dealing with people in their new houses, that they're very concerned about their new homes that are going to be where their family is going to grow up. If we see something that we need to point out to tell them there's a problem here, and it might not be related to what we do at all. We just want to be protective to the customer. Hey, there's a pipe here that is, that's busted that might be a problem over time. We're not a plumber, but hey, like we see this, just so you know, because we want to take care of your home because we care about the customer.
Mhm. So, what are some of those other challenges that you guys face on a day to day? Transparency, making sure your customers are taken care of. What are the things that come up day to day in your business that are challenging?
The hardest thing that I think to deal with that I heard my father say recently was that when he started a business, he didn't know the hardest thing that he was going to have to deal with was not getting paid by people. And so I feel like I'm good at delivering the service and doing the quality and doing that part, doing basically the part that I should do, and then the part that should happen afterwards, which is the transfer of goods, which is money in this case, because we charge for our services, because we have to, is that sometimes we don't get paid. And that's really hard because for whatever reason, and there's a lot of different extenuating circumstances why that can occur. We have to fight to get paid sometimes, and that's really frustrating. That people will accept a service without either the means or the organization or the cash flow to pay us on time, like what we would need to get paid. So that's been a hard thing for me to reconcile, especially because I can be very, very trusting of customers and clients because I know them and I trust that they're going to pay me. But then sometimes like that just gets delayed and then it makes it complicated to run a business off of a more shallow cash flow that is not there. So it's been the hardest thing for me to deal with, and it would be probably the thing that makes us the most vulnerable is keeping up with that.
That makes total sense. So, tight margins, you're dealing with a lot of competition. How do you ensure that your business thrives even given all of those challenges?
Yeah. I have to I have to hire more sales help for one thing. It's been a thing where I've been very good at selling. I've been really good at gaining trust from clients that are normally builders. And so I put a lot of that on my back to do that for a long time, and it's been um, very, very exhausting. And I'm wearing a hat because I have so much more gray hair than I did 7 years ago before I started. And it's been hard to keep that going and through the vulnerability of not getting enough cash flow sometimes. But part of it has been I really need to learn to delegate and to trust people and to train people better and be really good at training. And that used to be harder for me than it is now because um, I think at first when you start a business, you just you don't know if it's going to work out, and so you just kind of do what you need to get started. And then at some point, every owner of a business realizes at some point that they wake up and they realize this is working and it's still going. So now I actually need to make this work for the future because I can't keep doing it the way that I'm doing it, and it's viable. But for it to be viable, for the next 10 years, it has to be because of an expansion of employees and for people that work with you. And so we're constantly just trying to figure out, like we were talking about earlier, of hiring the right people and and then also the structures in place to make sure that we don't make ourselves vulnerable with the wrong people to work with that are not either whether or not they intend to pay, which normally I sincerely believe that they do intend to pay. It's more of just the vetting process of are you able to and can we vet them out and can we have the right process in place. And I was just meeting with a lawyer yesterday to understand the practices of guarding yourself more for these kind of situations where you aren't paid and what you need to go through to be prepared to take the right means of either litigation or pre-litigation to be ready for that.
Wow. Um, what are some of the things that you are excited about in business as a family-owned business? What are you excited about in the future?
Oh, so much, so much more than it used to be when it was just me as a guy selling insulation. And now there's the aspects of having a team that I really enjoy working with. And then there's the aspect of I work with my brothers from the standpoint that they run the Kansas City company, which is a bigger company. It's been a more long-standing company than our Nashville company. So the aspect of working with my family and my brothers, and we recently expanded to a branch in Dallas where we're all trying to kind of offer assistance in that marketplace where we do insulation in. And so the options to expand and to grow are really exciting. But then when I put together why it's exciting, more so because of the people we get to work with and support and employ, it's a little bit more positive for me than just let's just expand, 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 which might have monetary benefits. We might make more money, but that's been harder to be as motivated because I already feel like I work a lot. I already feel like I'm pretty expanded in my time. And so the motivation and getting to work with people that we really love to work with and hopefully love working with us has been a much more motivating factor than let's just expand to these different markets and grow them.
Mhm.
And so when I look at my team and all the time I'm thinking this is so fun. I get to work with people that I really, really enjoy working with. And when I'm hiring people, there's the element of you're a good worker, you seem like a good person. Am I gonna like working with you every day? And some of them might check off two of those boxes, but maybe I don't know if I'm gonna like working with you every day. And this is a second family to me that I'm gonna have to work with people every day. So it's fun to be able to choose who those people will be and to know that I'm excited to help them with their career, hopefully to make their career amazing. Hopefully it's beneficial to their family. Hopefully it's beneficial from the compensation standpoint as well. So I think that's been a more exciting part for me that I didn't have even 5 years ago because I wasn't hiring very many people. I was keeping it very small, um, and you could say even efficient because I was running a very big company for just really just not having a lot of structure and overhead too. So now getting to having a staff and people that I love working with has been a really big benefit to this phase that we're in right now.
That's great. It's exciting. So, in closing, do you have parting advice for our listeners, either based on leadership and development or a family-owned business, or what advice can you leave us with today?
Yeah, I think that the advice of overall, there's the advice of not despising the small beginnings that you might have in whatever venture that you're starting in or career that you're in, because every career, and I've realized this a lot doing this, Michelle, is that I could do any industry and be happy and enjoy it if it was done the right way. It could be anything. It could be doing, septic system work. It could be the gamut of things if it was done the right way with the right people. And having a family business like this has been something that's made me realize for other people that I talk to that have a father that do a company that they could be a part of, but they're not doing that because they want to try their own thing, is challenging them to think about why would you not? Why would is the way your father is running his company is something that you can't expand upon, that you can't be somebody that can, to really take it another direction and to grow something that's already been started. It's a lot easier to grow something than it is to start something new. And I would challenge, people a part of family companies, whether, why they would not at times. And yeah, and granted, there's great reasons. I have 4 kids and they might not all want to be a part of my company, but part of my motivation is also I want to grow a company that they all want to work with because not because they're taking a step down, but because they're using their gifts, they're using their dreams, and they're doing it and they're applying it to a company that can really utilize those dreams and those talents that they do have.
That's great. Well, to wrap it up, we've been talking with Pete Hayes, co-owner of the Hayes Company. And Pete, tell us where people can learn about you and your company.
Yeah, so you're in the Kansas City, the Nashville, Dallas market, we'd love to do insulation or some other building product work for you. You can see us at thehazco.com and you can start from there and hopefully find us.
Great. Well, thank you for being on the show.
Yeah, thanks, Michelle.